You ever stop and really think about all the products we use every single day? What makes them more than just stuff on a shelf? What makes one jump out at you or makes you buy it again and again, even when there are tons of other options, like the toothbrush you used this morning, the phone you might be listening on right now. Products really do shape our world. And that's exactly what this deep dive is all about today. We're going to unpack the really fascinating world of setting product strategy. First, we'll look at what actually defines a product, how they get classified, and then really get into the complex, sometimes subtle art of making a product stand out differentiation.
Yeah, and to help us navigate all that, we're drawing insights from a pretty comprehensive presentation on core marketing principles. What's really interesting, I think, is how this source material helps us understand the strategy behind almost every product we see. It even touches on how strong product strategy can affect markets and consumer behavior, especially, in the context of wider economic situations. For instance, this presentation explores a significant economic event with lasting effects on Nepal's financial and policy environment. And it does that partly through the lens of successful product strategies, like those used by companies such as YY Noodles there. It's quite a rich source. Oh, and by the way, you can access the original presentation files and supporting materials on our official academic platform, SlideGround, and also our SlideShare account. The links are in the bio of this account.
Right, good point. So our mission today is basically to give you, our listener, a whole new way of looking at the products all around you. Maybe you're thinking about starting a business, or you're just a consumer trying to figure out all the choices out there. Or maybe you're just curious about how commerce actually works behind the scenes. By the end of this, you'll have a much more sophisticated grasp of how products get designed, presented, and positioned to meet our needs, or even sometimes create them. So how are we going to tackle this? We'll kick off with the basics. What is a product in marketing terms? And spoiler, it's way broader than just a physical thing. Then we'll move into how products are sorted into categories, how companies make them stand out using differentiation, and the really crucial strategies around managing a whole product mix, pricing, product lines, the whole shebang. We'll wrap things up by looking at the surprisingly vital roles of packaging, labeling, and even things like guarantees in a product's journey. Okay, ready to unpack this?
Let's do it. Defining the product. Characteristics and classification.
All right, let's start right at square one. When we talk about a product in marketing, what are we actually talking about? You said it's more than just a physical item. How broad are we talking?
We're talking incredibly broad, and that's really, really key to understand from the outset. In marketing speak, a product is basically anything offered to a market to satisfy a need or a want. Just think about what that means. It immediately blows the doors off the idea that it's just tangible stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it includes physical goods, your phone, a bottle of water, sure, but also services.
Like a haircut or my internet connection.
Exactly. Or legal advice. Then you've got experiences. Think a concert, a theme park visit, a spa day. Those are products being marketed. Events, too, like the Olympics or a local food festival. Those are products. And it keeps going. Persons think celebrity endorsements, political candidates, places tourism marketing for Paris or promotions for a new housing development, even properties like real estate or financial investments. They're all products under this definition. The main takeaway here is that the same fundamental strategic marketing thinking, the stuff we're diving into, applies across this huge spectrum, from a can of soda to, like, a world-famous athlete's brand.
Wow. Okay. That really does expand the definition. So products aren't just simple things then. They have these core characteristics that define them and, I guess, dictate how you'd market them.
Precisely. We can break products down by 6 key characteristics. Knowing these is like understanding a product's DNA. It really shapes how you approach the market. First step, tangibility. Pretty straightforward. Can you touch it, feel it, hold it? This is your physical goods, a car, a box of cereal. They have physical form, weight. This affects everything, right? Inventory, you can count it, store it. Distribution, you can ship it, put it on a shelf. Marketing often highlights the physical stuff, the look, the
Yes,
feel.
You can see the car's lines, taste the cereal. Makes sense.
Then, the flip side, intangibility. Services, experiences, they're intangible. You can't physically hold a concert ticket experience or financial advice or a flight. This makes marketing trickier because people can't really try before they buy in the same way.
Right. How do you sell something you can't touch?
It's about building trust, showing competence, highlighting the benefits or the outcome. Like with insurance, you're selling peace of mind, not a physical thing. It requires a different kind of proof and reassurance.
That's a really important distinction. Okay, what's next?
Third is perishability.
This is about products that expire or lose their value quickly over time. Fresh food is the obvious one. It goes bad. But it also applies to services. Think about an airline seat on a specific flight. Once that plane takes off, an unsold seat for that flight is worthless. The chance to sell it is gone forever.
Like a hotel room for tonight.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So companies dealing with perishable products have to be super careful about managing demand and capacity. You see dynamic pricing, last-minute deals that's often driven by perishability, trying to sell that seat or room before its value disappears. Fourth characteristic, variability. This means the quality of a product or service can differ depending on who provides it, when, and where. Think about a restaurant meal. It might be slightly different each time depending on the chef that day, the ingredients they got in, even how busy they are.
Or getting your hair cut by different people at the same salon.
Perfect example. Especially with services, human interaction introduces variability. Customer service quality can vary hugely. Companies work hard to reduce this through things like standardization, training, quality control, trying to make the experience predictably good every time. But it's an inherent challenge. Fifth is ownership. When you buy a physical good, you usually own it. Take it home, use it, sell it later. But with services, you consume them, but you don't own them. After your haircut, you experience the service, but you don't own the haircut itself. Can't resell it.
Right.
This affects expectations about things like warranties, returns, ongoing support. It changes how you frame the values about having something or experiencing something. And finally, number 6, durability. How long does the product last? A car, a fridge, those are durable goods designed for long-term use, maybe years. But a cup of coffee, a newspaper, those are non-durable, consumed quickly, often just once.
Disposable razors versus the handle itself.
Exactly. Durability impacts how often people buy, whether they need repairs, the perceived long-term value. Marketing durable goods stresses reliability, longevity. Non-durables often focus on immediate satisfaction, convenience, encouraging frequent repurchase. The key insight isn't just knowing the terms, but seeing how these qualities force companies into different business models and marketing approaches.
Wow, that's a really comprehensive look at just what a product is. Understanding these characteristics feels absolutely fundamental. It literally dictates how a company should approach everything from ads to delivery. It really is like knowing the product's DNA. Now, if you were a startup, which of these characteristics would be the biggest marketing hurdle? Like, is it harder to sell something perishable or something intangible?
That's a great question. It really depends, but often I'd say the combination of intangibility and variability can be the toughest nut to crack. With something perishable, like fresh produce, the main challenge is logistics, timing, operations. But for an intangible service that's also highly variable, maybe like a new consulting service, you're not just selling something invisible. You're also fighting the potential perception that the quality might be inconsistent depending on who you get or when. Building trust takes longer. You need strong testimonials, case studies, rigorous quality control. It's often a much slower burn than just showing someone a cool physical product.
I can definitely see that. Okay, so beyond these inherent traits, you mentioned products are also broadly categorized based on who buys them and why. That must totally change the marketing game, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's a fundamental split. The two main categories are really distinct and dictate very different sales and marketing strategies. First, you've got consumer products. These are the things bought by the final consumer, you, me, for personal use. The motivation is personal need, desire, enjoyment. Groceries, clothes, electronics for home, streaming subscriptions.
Stuff for us or our families.
Exactly. Buying decisions are often driven by personal taste, lifestyle, maybe emotions, convenience. Marketing tends to be broader, more mass market, often playing on emotions or aspirations. Then you have industrial products. These are bought by individuals or organizations, but not for personal use. They're bought for further processing or to be used in running a business. The motivation here is almost purely practical and economic. Does it help the business operate better, produce goods, provide services efficiently?
So raw materials like steel or machinery for a factory.
Precisely. Or even office supplies for a big company. The buying process is usually way more complex, often involves multiple decision makers, detailed technical specs. Decisions are based on reliability, efficiency, return on investment, long-term value. Not so much on impulse or emotion, and the sales cycle can be much, much longer.
Okay, makes sense. And you said earlier, this is where it gets really interesting, because these broad categories break down even further into specific types. So within consumer products, it's not just one kind of shopping behavior.
Not at all. For consumer products, we typically look at 4 distinct types. Each needs different marketing approach because we as consumers shop for them so differently. First, convenience products. Think toothpaste, candy, newspapers, maybe your regular brand of soda. These are things we buy often, immediately, with very little comparison or effort. Low cost, usually widely available. We don't spend ages researching which chewing gum to buy.
Grabbing a-
Exactly. So marketing focuses on making them super available, widespread distribution, mass advertising to build awareness, and placement for impulse buys like at the checkout counter. The goal is to be everywhere and make it effortless. Second, shopping products. These are things we buy less often and where we do tend to compare. We look at suitability, quality, price, style. Think furniture, clothing, major appliances, maybe plane tickets. We're willing to spend time gathering info, reading reviews, comparing different brands or models.
Yeah, I definitely shop around for a new TV or a flight.
Right. So for marketers, this means emphasizing what makes their product different, providing good information, maybe helpful sales staff, having a strong value proposition that stands up to comparison. Retailers often group these together to make that comparison easier for us. Third, specialty products. These have unique characteristics or a really strong brand identity that makes a significant group of buyers willing to make a special effort to get them. Think specific luxury car models, high-end designer fashion, maybe rare collectibles. People who buy these are often very brand loyal. They'll travel further, pay a premium. They're not just buying an item, they're buying status or heritage or a unique experience.
So the marketing is all about exclusivity.
Exactly. Premium branding, very targeted distribution, maybe only in select stores or directly from the company. It emphasizes the unique appeal and the prestige. And finally, unsought products. These are the tricky ones. Products consumers don't normally think about buying, or maybe don't even know exist. Classic examples are life insurance, funeral services, maybe even things like blood donations, or totally new innovations the market isn't aware of yet.
Things we don't wake up wanting to buy.
Pretty much. Because people aren't actively looking for them, these require really heavy advertising, often aggressive personal selling, lots of promotional effort just to educate people and create demand. The challenge is overcoming inertia or lack of awareness, sometimes even aversion. You're often selling the need before you can sell the product.
That last category, unsought products, definitely sounds like the toughest marketing challenge. What about the industrial side? How are those products classified?
The classifications for industrial products are different because, again, the buying motives are all business-driven. First group is materials and parts. These are things that actually become part of the buyer's final product. This includes raw materials like farm products, wheat, cotton, or natural products, lumber, crude oil. And also manufactured materials and parts like component materials, iron, yarn, cement, or component parts, small motors, tires, things that get assembled into something else. These are usually sold directly to the businesses using them. Price, quality, consistency, and reliable delivery are absolutely critical factors here.
Makes sense. The inputs for production.
All right. Second category is capital items. These are the long-lasting assets that help in the buyer's production or operations. They don't become part of the final product, but they help make it. This includes installations, the big ticket items like buildings, factories, offices, or major fixed equipment, generators, large computer systems, elevators, huge investments, long negotiation periods, very technical sales. And it also includes accessory equipment, shorter-lived, less expensive goods like hand tools, lift trucks, office equipment, desks, computers, maybe specialized software, bought more routinely, often through distributors.
So the big machines and the smaller tools needed to run the place.
Exactly. And the third category is supplies and services. These are the shorter-term goods and services needed for operations, but again, they don't end up in the final product. Supplies include things like operating supplies, lubricants, paper, pens, and repair maintenance items, paint, nails, cleaning supplies. These are kind of like the industrial version of convenience goods bought frequently with minimal fuss. Business services include maintenance and repair services, window cleaning, IT support, and advisory services, legal help, consulting, advertising agencies. These are usually outsourced to support the main business functions. 2. Product differentiation, standing out in the market.
Okay, so we've got this huge universe of products, consumer and industrial, with all these different characteristics and buying motives. With so much out there, how does any single company make its offering unique, make it stand out? That's where product differentiation comes in, right? Sounds simple, but I bet it's incredibly complex to do well.
It is complex, and honestly, it's fundamental to survival in almost any competitive market. Product differentiation is basically the process of making your product or service distinct from others, making it more attractive to your specific target market. And it's not just about being different for difference's sake. It's about carving out a unique value proposition, something that really resonates with customers and gives you an edge
hopefully one that lasts.
Because if you're just like everyone else,
You end up competing purely on price. And that's usually a race to the bottom. Margins get squeezed. It's tough. Differentiation lets you potentially charge more, build loyalty, create something unique in the customer's mind. And companies can differentiate in a whole bunch of ways. It's not just one lever they can pull. First, there's physical or product-based differentiation. This is probably the most obvious one. It's based on the actual product itself, its features, performance, design, quality, durability. Think about a new smartphone boasting a much better camera, faster chip, or unique foldable screen. Or a car brand known specifically for its top-tier safety ratings.
or a drink with a unique flavor nobody else has.
Exactly. This often requires strong R&D, constant innovation, maybe higher quality manufacturing. The challenge: features can often be copied by competitors eventually. Second type, service-based differentiation. Here you stand out not just by the product, but by the service around the product. Superior customer support, super fast delivery, easy installation, great repair services. Think of an online store known for its ridiculously easy free returns. Even if they sell similar stuff to others, that service makes them stand out.
Or like a software company with amazing 24/7 tech support.
Perfect example. This builds loyalty by making the whole experience better, smoother, more supportive. And it's often harder for competitors to copy well because it involves people, processes, and a real customer-first culture. Third, price-based differentiation. Now, this isn't just about being the cheapest, though that's one way. Price can signal value or exclusivity. Offering a much lower price attracts budget-conscious buyers, think discount airlines or store brands. But offering a much higher price can signal luxury, superior quality, prestige, appealing to a segment that values those things over cost, high-end fashion, gourmet foods.
So price itself becomes part of the brand message.
Exactly. The key is, the price difference needs to feel justified and aligned with the overall value perception. You can't just charge more for no reason. You need to deliver on that implied promise of quality or status. Fourth, image or brand differentiation. This is less about tangible features or price and more about perception, emotion, identity. It's about creating a distinct personality or feeling through branding, logos, symbols, advertising. Think about Nike and its association with athletic achievement and determination. Or Apple and its image of innovation and cool design.
Or a luxury watch brand signaling success.
Right? Like Rolex. It's not just the watch mechanics, it's the aura, the heritage. This kind of differentiation is built over time through consistent messaging and experiences. And it's powerful because it connects on an emotional level, making it hard for competitors to counter just by matching features. And fifth, there's location-based differentiation. Making your product more accessible or convenient because of where it is or how it's distributed. A coffee chain with shops on seemingly every corner has a huge convenience advantage. Or a global delivery company whose vast network means they can get packages anywhere faster than others.
So being easy to find or easy to get.
Pretty much. It hinges on optimizing your physical presence, your supply chain, making it effortless for the customer. In our busy lives, that convenience can be a major differentiator in itself.
It's really clear how each of these plays a part in shaping how we see a product and whether we choose it. It's definitely not just about the core thing being sold. So thinking about long-term advantage, if a company wants to build something truly hard for competitors to copy quickly, which of these differentiation types is the most, defensible?
That's a fantastic question. It gets right to the heart of sustainable competitive advantage. While physical features might seem tangible and easy to point to, they can often be reverse engineered or matched by competitors with enough investment. Price can always be undercut, at least temporarily. Location advantages can sometimes be eroded as competitors expand. But the differentiators that often create the strongest, most lasting moats are service-based differentiation, and especially image or brand differentiation. Why? Because building truly superior service requires deep operational changes, a strong company culture, well-trained people that's incredibly hard to replicate quickly or effectively, and brand image. That's built brick by brick over years, maybe decades. It lives in the minds and hearts of consumers. That kind of trust, loyalty, and emotional connection. You can't just buy that or copy it overnight, no matter how much money you throw at it. 3. Product mix. The company's full offering.
Okay, so we've talked about individual products and making them stand out, but companies rarely sell just one thing, right? They manage a whole portfolio. That's the product mix. What does that term really capture?
Yeah, exactly. The product mix, sometimes called the product assortment, is the complete set of all the products and items that a particular company offers for sale. It includes every single product line and every individual item within those lines. Think of a big company like Procter & Gamble. Their product mix is vast detergents, toothpaste,
diapers, razors, shampoos, hundreds of items across many categories.
So it's the company's entire menu of offerings.
Precisely. It gives you that big picture view of their market presence and overall strategy. Managing this whole mix is critical because decisions about one product, like launching a new one or discontinuing an old one, can impact the sales and perception of others in the mix. It's about optimizing the whole portfolio.
And this mix isn't just a random collection, right? There are ways to measure it, to analyze its structure.
Absolutely. We look at 4 key dimensions of the product mix. It's width, length, depth, and consistency. Understanding these helps companies analyze their position and plan strategically. First, width. This is about how many different product lines the company carries. So using the example from our source, YY in Nepal is known for instant noodles. That's one line. If they decided to also launch a line of, say, instant soups or maybe savory snacks like chips, each of those new categories would increase the width of their product mix.
So different categories of products.
Right. A company might increase its width to diversify, spread risk, target new customer groups, or maybe leverage its brand name in a new area. Second, length. This is the total number of items within all the product lines. So sticking with YY, if their instant noodle line has, say, 5 different flavors and maybe their hypothetical soup line has 3 flavors, the total product mix length is 8 items. The source mentions YY having several flavor variants within its noodle line. Each of those variants adds to the length. More length generally means more choice for consumers, potentially capturing more market share by catering to diverse tastes.
Okay, so width is categories, length is total items. What's depth?
Depth refers to how many variants are offered of each specific product within a line. So for YY's chicken flavor instant noodles, the depth would be the number of different versions offered. Maybe a small single pack, a multi-pack of 5, a larger family size pack.
Like different sizes or formulations of the same basic item.
Exactly. The source highlights YY offering different packaging sizes. That's product mix depth. High depth lets the company target different usage occasions, budgets, or even different types of stores, like a small packet for a convenience store versus a bulk pack for a warehouse club. And finally, consistency. This describes how closely related the different product lines are. Are they similar in end use, production methods, distribution channels, target customers? For YY, the source says they focus on the instant food snack category. That suggests high consistency. If they suddenly started selling, I don't know, mobile phones, the consistency of their product mix would plummet.
Right.
Companies often aim for some level of consistency to get synergies leveraging shared manufacturing, distribution, brand reputation. It makes sense to stick somewhat close to what you know and what your customers expect from you.
This breakdown is super helpful. It turns what could just be a long list of products into something structured you can actually analyze. It helps companies see their market footprint clearly and plan where they want to go next, maybe wider, maybe deeper, maybe even trimming things down for more consistency. IV, product mix pricing, maximizing total profit.
Okay, moving from the structure of the mix to how you actually price everything within it. This sounds incredibly strategic. It's not just setting a price for item A and item B separately, is it?
No, not at all. That's the critical point about product mix pricing. The goal isn't just to maximize profit on each individual product in isolation. Instead, the firm tries to find a set of prices across the entire mix that maximizes the total profit from all products combined. It's a real balancing act because the demand for different items in the mix is often linked.
Well, think about it. Maybe a low price on one item encourages people to buy a related higher margin item, or a premium price on a flagship product might lift the perceived quality of the whole brand, allowing slightly higher prices elsewhere. It requires a holistic view, looking at how pricing one item affects the others and the overall bottom line.
It sounds like a chess game with prices.
It really is. And there are several common strategies or situations companies find themselves in when setting these interconnected prices. The source outlines 6 key ones. First, product line pricing. Companies usually sell product lines, not just single products. So they set price steps between the different models in that line. Think about cars or electronics. You have a basic model, a mid-range one with more features, and a premium top-of-the-line version. Each step up in price corresponds to a perceived step up in quality or features.
Like going from a standard hotel room to a suite.
Exactly. These price steps cater to different budgets, but also aim to nudge consumers towards the higher margin options if possible. The gaps between prices need to feel psychologically justified. Second, optional features pricing. Here, you offer a base product at a standard price, maybe quite attractively priced. But then you offer optional extras, features, or services that customers can add on for an additional cost. Configuring a new car is the classic example. Base price is X, but adding the sunroof, the better stereo, the navigation package, that all adds up.
The source mentioned pizza toppings, too.
Right. Base cheese pizza is one price, but each extra topping costs more. This lets companies advertise a lower entry price but make good margins on the customizations that customers choose.
Seems like a good way to upsell. But what's the risk? Can it backfire?
Oh, definitely. The biggest risk is making customers feel like they're being nickeled and dimed. If the base product feels too stripped down, or if the options seem outrageously extensive for what they are, people can feel ripped off. Or they might add so many options that the final price becomes surprisingly high, leading to sticker shock or them abandoning the purchase. You have to balance the attractive base price with genuinely valuable, reasonably priced options. Third strategy, captive product pricing. This is where you sell the main product, the platform, at a low price, sometimes even at a loss. But you price the necessary complementary products, the consumables, much higher to make your profit over time.
Ah, the classic razor and blades model.
Exactly what the source cites with Gillette. The razor handle is cheap to get you hooked, but the profit comes from selling you blade refills again and again. Same idea with printers and ink cartridges, or those single-serve coffee machines in their proprietary pods. The model relies on locking the customer into buying those high-margin consumables repeatedly.
Clever, but potentially annoying for customers if the consumables feel overpriced.
It can be. Finding the right balance is key. Fourth is two-part pricing. Here, the total price is split into two parts, a fixed fee and then a variable usage fee. The source uses amusement parks as an example. You pay a fixed price just to get in the gate, the fixed fee, and then you might pay extra per ride or per game, the variable fee.
Or like a gym membership, a monthly fee, and maybe extra for personal training sessions.
Yes, or even basic utilities. Often there's a fixed monthly service charge, plus a charge based on how much electricity or water you actually use. This helps cover the provider's fixed costs with the entry fee and then makes money based on actual consumption. Fifth strategy, byproduct pricing. This one's interesting. If producing your main product generates secondary products or byproducts, you find a way to sell those too. The revenue from selling the byproducts helps lower the cost of the main product, making it more competitive or profitable. The source example is the meat industry. Processing meat creates hides, bones, fats, etc. Selling those for leather, fertilizer, soap, or animal feed helps offset the cost of producing the meat itself. It turns potential waste into cash.
So finding value in the leftovers, essentially.
Pretty much. Very efficient.
Yeah.
And finally, sixth, product bundling pricing. This is where you package multiple products together and sell them as a bundle for a single price, usually lower than buying all the items separately. Fast food combo meals are the perfect example. Burger, fries, drink for one price.
Or software suites like Microsoft Office.
Exactly. Or cable companies bundling TV, internet, and phone. The goal is to encourage customers to buy more than they might have individually, increase the total sale value, and often simplify the decision by offering perceived value and convenience.
Wow. Okay, so pricing is definitely not just slapping a number on something. Each of these strategies shows how interconnected pricing decisions are across the whole product mix, all aimed at maximizing the overall profit. It's really strategic. Product line analysis. Managing your offerings. We've looked at the whole mix, now let's zoom in on a specific product line. What exactly makes a group of products align and why analyze it separately?
Right. A product line is a group of products that are closely related. They might function similarly, be sold to the same customer groups, marketed through the same channels, or fall within similar price ranges. The source specifically mentions the product line of YY noodles. So within their broader mix, if they had other things, the noodle line includes all their related noodle products, different flavors, maybe instant versus cookable types, different pack sizes. They all serve a similar need, quick meal, target similar consumers, and are likely sold in the same places. Analyzing a line makes sense because these products often share resources, affect each other's sales, and have a common strategic purpose.
So it's a more manageable unit for analysis than the entire company's mix. And companies don't just launch these lines and leave them, right? They're constantly evaluating them.
Absolutely, or at least they should be. Product line analysis is a continuous process. It's about evaluating each product within that line to see how it's doing. Is it profitable? Are customers buying it? How does it stack up against competitors? Does it still fit the company's overall strategy? The product line manager needs to know, like the nitty-gritty details, sales numbers and profit margins for each item. Which ones are the stars? Which are the dogs? This analysis helps them decide which products to push harder, which need improvement, and maybe which ones need to be dropped altogether. It also informs bigger decisions, like whether to stretch the line by adding higher or lower priced options, or fill it by adding more varieties within the current range. It's active management.
How do they actually do that evaluation? What are the main tools or methods they use?
Two key tools really stand out for effective product line analysis. First, and maybe most obviously, is sales and profit contribution. Managers have to track this regularly for every single item in the line. And the crucial thing here, as we touched on before, is looking beyond just sales volume. A product might sell loads, but have razor-thin margins, contributing very little actual profit.
The high volume, low profit trap.
Exactly. Conversely, a slower-selling item might be highly profitable, so you need both piece of sales and profit. The goal is to identify your true winners, the products driving revenue and profit, and also to spot the underperformers that might be dragging the line down or sucking up resources unnecessarily. Then you can decide. Fix them, reposition them, or cut them loose. The second key tool is market profile and image. This is about understanding how your products are positioned relative to competitors in the minds of consumers. You map out the competitive landscape. Where do your products sit in terms of price, features, quality perception? Where do your competitors sit?
Looking for gaps.
Precisely. This analysis can reveal gaps in the market, unmet needs, or areas where competition is weak that might point to opportunities for new products within the line. It's also about checking the image of each product. Does it align with the overall brand image you want for the line? Sometimes one product, even if selling okay, might inadvertently cheapen the image of the others. That's important feedback.
So the actual length of the product line, how many items are in it, that's a strategic choice too, linked to the company's goals.
Definitely. The length isn't arbitrary. A company gunning for high market share or fast growth often goes for longer product lines. More items mean more shelf space, appealing to more niche tastes, covering more price points. It's about blanketing the market.
Trying to have something for everyone in that category.
Right. On the other hand, a company focused more on profitability or maybe maintaining a really premium image might choose shorter, more selective lines. This lets them focus resources on the high-margin winners, reduces complexity in manufacturing and marketing, and can reinforce an image of exclusivity or specialization. There's no single right length. It depends entirely on the strategy. And based on that strategy, companies use specific tactics to manage the line's length and scope over time. One major strategy is line stretching. This means extending your product line beyond its current price or feature range. You can stretch downwards, upwards, or both ways. Down market stretch, introducing lower-priced items to attract new, more budget-conscious customers. Maybe a luxury brand launches a slightly more accessible diffusion line, the risk, potentially diluting the main brand's premium image.
Making the brand feel less exclusive.
Could be. Up market stretch. Doing the opposite, introducing higher-end, more expensive products, aiming for more affluent customers, boosting the brand's prestige, capturing higher margins. Think a standard car company launching a luxury performance model. And two-way stretch. Doing both at the same time. The source gave the iPhone example. iPhone 16, iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro Max. You've got a more entry-level option E, the standard model, and the premium Pro Max. Covers a very wide spectrum. Maximizes market coverage, but adds a lot of complexity.
Right, hitting different price points simultaneously.
Then there's line filling. This isn't about stretching the range, but adding more items within the existing range. Think adding new flavors, colors, sizes, or slightly different feature sets to products you already offer. A snack company releasing a spicy BBQ version of their existing chips. The goal here is usually to gain incremental sales, maybe satisfy dealers who want a fuller line to offer, use up excess production capacity, or just block competitors from finding a niche within your range. The key is that each new item should ideally have a just noticeable difference in the consumer's mind, so it doesn't just steal sales from your existing items.
That makes sense. So these aren't just static lists of products. They're actively managed, stretched, filled, constantly evolving. What's a common mistake companies make when they try to fill a line? Seems like you could end up with too much stuff.
That's a huge risk. Probably the most common mistake with line filling is creating too much cannibalization. That's when your new product variant doesn't really attract new customers, it just persuades your existing customers to switch from another one of your own products. So, total sales for the line don't really increase or maybe even drop if the new item has lower margins.
So you're just shuffling sales around within your own line?
Exactly. It often happens if the new item isn't different enough. Another pitfall is just adding too many minor variations, choice overload for consumers, making it confusing to shop. And for the company, it adds complexity and costs more inventory to manage, more marketing variations. Good line filling finds genuine gaps or underserved preferences. It doesn't just add clutter for the sake of it. 6. Line management strategy, adapting to the market.
Okay, so beyond just stretching the line longer or filling in gaps, what other ongoing strategies are crucial for managing a product line day to day, adapting to the market? It really sounds like a continuous process.
It absolutely has to be. Markets change, competitors move, tastes evolve. You can't just set the line and forget it. Three other key ongoing strategies are really important. First, line modernization. This is about keeping your existing products up to date, relevant, and competitive. It's not necessarily launching something brand new, but upgrading what you have. The source used the example of phone brands constantly updating models with better cameras, new designs, faster chips. That's modernization.
Keeping the products fresh so they don't look old compared to the competition?
Precisely. It could be minor tweaks, like new colors or improved software or more significant redesigns. The goal is to prevent your line from becoming obsolete and maintain its appeal over time. Second strategy, line featuring. This is where you deliberately pick one or maybe a few items in the line and give them extra marketing focus. You highlight them. The idea is that promoting a star product can create a halo effect, drawing attention to and boosting sales for the entire line. The source mentioned Real Juice heavily advertising its mango flavor, even though they have many others. Maybe mango is their best seller, or the most iconic. By pushing mango, they hope people trying it might then explore their other juice flavors too.
Using a hero product to pull the rest along.
That's a good way to put it. It requires figuring out which product has the most pulling power or strategic importance and putting your marketing weight behind it. And third, a strategy that's often overlooked but critical, line pruning. This is the flip side of stretching and filling. It means strategically removing underperforming or unpopular products from the line. It can be tough deciding to kill off a product, maybe one with a long history, but it's essential. Why? Because weak products drain resources.
Money, time, attention.
Exactly. Marketing budget, salesperson effort, inventory costs, management focus, all could be better used on the stronger products in the line. Pruning eliminates that drag. It reduces complexity and cost. The source gave that specific example of Sujal Foods in Nepal pruning their Choco Fun Dark variant. Reason: low demand didn't quite fit local tastes. That shows it's not just about poor sales numbers, but also strategic fit. Pruning lets the healthy parts of the line thrive.
Right, cutting the dead wood so that the tree can grow stronger. It all points to this idea of the product line being a dynamic entity that needs constant attention and adjustment to stay healthy in the market. 7. Packaging, labeling, and guarantees. The product's final frontier. All right, let's shift focus to something that might seem almost like an afterthought, but you're saying is really strategic. The actual package a product comes in, the label on it, and the promises made about it. Packaging, it's just a box, right? Or is it way more?
Oh, it is way more than just a box or a wrapper. Packaging is a critical component. Yes, it protects the product, but it also promotes it, presents it. It's often the first physical point of contact a consumer has with your brand on a shelf. That's like a silent salesman. It serves several really key functions. First, protection and preservation. That's the basic job, right? Keep the product safe from damage during shipping, handling on the shelf. Prevent contamination. And for things like food, it preserves freshness. Think about vacuum-sealed packs or those special bags that keep chips crispy. If the product is damaged or spoiled by the time the customer gets it, everything else is pointless.
Okay, protection is crucial. What else?
Second, branding and promotion. This is huge. The design of the package, the colors, the shape, the materials, the logo, the graphics, it all communicates the brand's identity and its value proposition visually. Think about Apple's minimalist white boxes. They scream premium, clean, modern before you even see the device. Or a uniquely shaped perfume bottle that becomes iconic for that brand.
It helps you spot it on the shelf immediately.
Exactly. It cuts through the clutter. It reinforces the brand image. It's a mini billboard working for you 24/7 in the store. Third, convenience. Good packaging makes the product easier for the consumer to use, store, and maybe even dispose of. Think resealable bags for snacks or coffee, squeeze bottles for ketchup, easy open tabs, portion control packs, handles on large containers. These things make the product fit better into people's lives.
Solving little annoyances.
Right. Good packaging anticipates how people will use the product and makes it hassle-free. And fourth, information display. The package is prime real estate for providing essential information. Usage instructions, ingredients, nutritional facts, warnings, expiry dates. This isn't just helpful, it's often legally required. Clear, accessible information builds trust, helps consumers make informed choices, and ensures safe use.
And the source mentioned the psychology of packaging colors. That sounds fascinating. How deep does that go? Are companies really choosing colors to manipulate us?
Manipulate might be a strong word, but they're definitely choosing colors very strategically to influence perception and emotion, often subconsciously. It's a well-studied area. Different colors trigger different associations. Like blue often conveys trust, calmness, reliability. So you see it a lot in finance, tech, cleaning products, things you want to feel dependable.
Okay, yeah, lots of banks use blue.
Right. Red often signifies excitement, energy, urgency, passion. Great for grabbing attention. Impulse buys fast food. Energy drinks often use red. Green is strongly linked to nature, health, freshness, eco-friendliness. So organic foods, natural remedies, sustainable products often lean heavily on green. Yellow is seen as cheerful, optimistic, warm, often used for kids' products or foods associated with happiness. Black often signals sophistication, luxury, power. Gold, silver convey premium quality. Even the shade matters. A bright, vibrant color feels energetic, while a muted tone might feel more serious or natural. Companies test these extensively because the right color can instantly communicate the desired brand personality and attract the target customer before they've read a single word. It's powerful nonverbal communication.
Wow, okay, so if packaging is the body, then labeling is kind of the product's voice. What does the label tell us, and why is getting that right so critical?
That's a great analogy. Labeling is the text and imagery on the package that conveys specific details. It's the direct communication channel, and it has several crucial jobs. First, identification, the most basic function. Brand name, logo, product name, allowing consumers to quickly find and recognize the product they want. Think of the Nike swoosh or the Coca-Cola script, instant recognition. Second, information disclosure. This is providing the necessary details, ingredients, nutritional info, how to use it, safety warnings, where it was made, expiry date. Essential for informed choice and safe use, empowering the consumer with facts. Third, regulatory compliance. This is huge. Laws often dictate what must be on a label. Allergen warnings, health warnings on tobacco, symbols for recyclability, organic certifications. Failing to comply can lead to massive problems, fines, recalls, lawsuits, damaged reputation. It's non-negotiable. And fourth, marketing tool. Labels aren't just for facts, they sell. They can highlight key benefits, low fat, new formula, unique features made with real fruit, or special offers, 20% more free. They can also feature awards won, quality seals, or endorsements to build credibility and persuade buyers right at the point of purchase. It's a mini ad.
Okay, so packaging and labeling are doing a lot of heavy lifting. What about when things go wrong after you buy? Or just for peace of mind? That's where warranties and guarantees fit in, right? The promises.
Yes, exactly. Warranties and guarantees are all about building consumer confidence and reducing the perceived risk of purchase, especially for more expensive or complex products. They're formal promises. A warranty is typically a formal promise from the seller or manufacturer to repair or replace the product if it's defective or fails within a certain period. There's the express warranty, the one that's actually written down in the manual or on the box. It spells out the terms, what's covered, for how long, what you need to do. There's the express warranty, the one that's actually written down in the manual or on the box. It spells out the terms. And then there's the implied warranty, which often exists by law, even if not written down, like the product should be fit for purpose. A toaster should toast bread. That's implied. There's the express warranty, the one that's actually written down in the manual or on the box. It spells out the terms, the main benefit. They reduce risk for the buyer, build trust, and provide a clear framework if something does go wrong.
And guarantees. Are they different? Or just another word for warranty? They often sound stronger.
They often are intended to sound stronger, and there's a subtle difference, though the terms get mixed up. A guarantee is often a broader promise about overall satisfaction or performance, sometimes going beyond just defects. Think satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. That's broader than just covering a manufacturing fault. Guarantees are great at encouraging trial. Amazon's 30-day return policy, no questions asked. That's a powerful guarantee that lowers the barrier for you to try something new or expensive, less risk. They're also a strong brand differentiation tool. Offering a really strong guarantee signals huge confidence in your product quality and customer service. Think of companies famous for lifetime guarantees or super easy returns, like Zappos. It becomes part of their brand identity. The main purpose is to minimize the buyer's risk and build trust by promising satisfaction, often through refunds and replacements, making customers feel secure in their purchase. Outro.
Okay, so let's try and wrap our heads around all of this. We've gone from the very definition of a product way broader than we might think, through all the ways companies classify them, make them stand out, manage the entire product mix, priced everything strategically, kept product lines fresh through modernization and pruning, and finally, the crucial roles of the package, the label, the promises. And we saw how companies like YY, mentioned in our source looking at Nepal's economy, really put these strategies into action, positioning their noodles cleverly, unique taste, clear packaging, smart pricing, strong branding, allowing them to really gain ground, especially with younger people and in rural areas there.
Yeah, what's really striking is how all these pieces have to fit together, don't they?
Yeah.
A successful product isn't just about having a great core offering. It's deeply tied to how it's packaged, what promises are made about it, how it's priced relative to others in the line, how it's differentiated. It's this whole integrated system. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it, as you go through your day, how many products are using these exact strategies on you, perhaps without you even consciously noticing?
That's the really provocative thought, isn't it? The next time you pick something up, anything, a snack bar, a new gadget, whatever, maybe take just a second. Try to spot its characteristics. Is it durable? How are they trying to differentiate it? What story is that packaging telling you with its colors and design? What promises are on the label or implied by the warranty? How does thinking about all that strategic planning behind the product change how you perceive its value? Maybe you won't look at that supermarket aisle quite the same way again. This has been a really deep dive into product strategy. We genuinely hope you feel more informed, maybe a bit more curious, about the products that fill our lives. Please subscribe to this channel for more of this type of presentation podcast.